For me, it's very memorable, my first DMT experience, because I had a dream earlier in the week that I was working on a painting called Transfiguration. And in this dream, there was a figure with its arms upraised, and it was hovering over the earth and had entered into a ball of light. And I liked the composition. It was very simple, and I made a note about it. And then a couple days later, I tried my first dose of DMT. And as I was inhaling, I recognized that my own body was like the body in the painting. That it started out kind of solid at the feet and then grew increasingly more translucent until I felt like I popped into the bright world. And this was like 30 seconds of just an inhalation of DMT, and I was there. So I had become the subject of the painting, really. And from inside of the painting now, I was holding up my arms, and I was this kind of spirit grid of light, and was looking inside of these kind of turning jewel-like forms that were inside of this wire-frame spirit body. And I was being pulled up to this greater light, and I could see a kind of faceted, iridescent geometry shifting in this hyper mind sphere that was surrounding me. And it was utterly gorgeous. It had a particular kind of ecstatic, melting feeling, and that became a reference point then for me for the painting. I was getting details about the painting because I was, within the painting. And that had never happened before, really. And so that was extremely memorable, and the experience with the DMT kind of carried me through like a year long. I was working on this painting. And so it was really informative, really helpful. On the same journey, I had a vision called collective vision. I mean, I painted a painting that was based on this DMT flash that was, I titled Collective Vision. And the face was kind of attached to a face next to it and next to it, and we had a continuous kind of eyes that went up into a dome of eyes. And so this was heads linked together and eyes all beautifully arranged geometrically in a inside dome. And this vision later became a computer graphic that was and still is being used at the Museum of Natural History in a program called Sonic Vision that Moby did the DJing for. And this is a moment in this CGI kind of interior on the planetarium. Instead of looking at outer space, it looks at inner space. So it's interesting how these DMT experiences then are getting translated into a broader culture. I'm fascinated about sharing these visions in the with computer graphics. When I was down in Brazil recently, well, when I was down in Brazil and using the ayahuasca, I had a experience of a painting that, well, it was a space that later became a painting. It's called Net of Being. And it was a series of heads. They were like god-like heads. They had 4 faces, and they were all connected like columns in a sacred space. And I was kind of flying through this space of these interconnected godheads. And it was really beautiful and very jewel-like, and the faces were like flames, and they had grids throughout them that you could see through the grids, and you could see little galaxies spinning and things like that. So they were godheads that were anthropomorphic, but they included the entire cosmos, and they went on infinitely. It was a infinite consciousness and infinite interconnectedness, a sense of a continuum of being that really was very highly networked, a mesh of being. And a kind of identity with that spread my consciousness and being out to a vast expanse in the, as vast as could be. You were like identified with a consciousness grid that was completely coextensive with all space. And it's been really challenging trying to paint that. You can have these visions, and anybody, I think, can have these kinds of visions, but then, like, how do you translate them into something that you can share with people? It's very challenging. So I've been spending years working on that. And just recently, well, in a week or something, we're going to release a music video that includes a journey through the net of being. I've been working with Adam Jones of Tool, and he recognized the beauty and oddness of this space in the net of being, and Tool used it in the CD package of their recent album called 10,000 Days, and we created this computer animated fly-through of the net of being for the Vicarious video that's coming out soon. So that was inspiring to try and bring the DMT visions into a fully dimensionalized, computer animated kind of video.